Alright, we're gonna go ahead to our infractions folder and we're gonna create a new file. We're gonna call it infractions.js, and then in here we're gonna require a couple of parameters from the Discord package. So we leave the object on empty. So we're gonna require discord.js. We're gonna require the command interaction and the message embed. Now we're gonna require our database, const our database schema. So const dp equals to, we're gonna require the location of it. So models/infractions data. Now here we're gonna start model.exports. Then our command is obviously gonna be infractions description infraction system. The perms is gonna be, we can set it to be whatever we want. I'm gonna set it to be administrator, and then we're gonna set the options. The first option is gonna be obviously member. We can select a member. Description, select member. The type of it is gonna be user, and it's gonna be required. Set it true. And the second option is gonna be called check. We can copy this option right here, put a comma. We can change the values. So from member to check, select a specific type of infraction to check. The type is gonna be string. And now here we're gonna have choices. So choices. The first source is gonna be all, so you can check all of the infractions. Don't forget the commas. The second option is gonna be called or the value of this. Let's set the value to be all. We can copy paste this a couple of times. So I'm pretty sure in the videos we created our mute and ban. They're pretty simple. How to make infractions out commands, like I showed you in the previous two videos. So you can check for every command that you make. Now in this case I'm gonna check for warnings and bans, and I'm gonna check for everything basically, because in our database schema, like you see here, we have the report data, mute data, kick data, ban data, and warn data. So you can put a check on everything. So let's paste it a couple of times. So the second one is gonna be called warnings, and the value is gonna be warnings. Third one is gonna be called bans. Same process, bans. Let's have the capital letters. I like capital letters. And now kicks. The value is also gonna be kicks. And for this is gonna be mute. Sorry, capitals, mute. So you can type the name to be whatever you want. Doesn't matter, but I like it to be capital. And here I'm gonna type it, the value of it to be mute. Alright, now we exit out of this array, and here we're gonna async execute. So async execute, depending on let's delete this line, we don't need it. Depending on your handler. So for example, my handler, let's go over to handlers, command handler. Actually not the command handler, it should be the event. Where is it? Event, interaction create. So like you see here, we have our parameters. The client go first, and then the interaction. So we're gonna type client interaction, and then we're gonna grab our parameters just like this. So the client parameter we don't need. We only need the command interaction parameter that we required from the Discord package over here. So we paste it. Alright, now we're gonna grab a couple of objects from the interaction object. So we type const guild member and options equals to interaction. So now we don't have to type interaction.options.get. Now we only type options. Same with the guild, not interaction.guild, we type just only guild. So we're gonna grab the member object. So const target equals to options.get member. We're gonna get it from the target, or we named it member, so we're gonna get it from the member option. And we're gonna grab the choice. So const choice equals to options.get string. We're gonna get it from our check option. And here we're gonna create our template embed. So we type const response equals to a new message embed. You can set the color to be whatever you want. I'm gonna set it to be red, for example. And here we can set the author to be, for example, infraction system, and we're gonna provide the guile.icon URL. Icon URL, and you can set it to be dynamic by typing dynamic equals true. And now here we're gonna switch between the choices. So type switch instead of an if statement, choices. Sorry, it needs to be choice actually. And we're gonna create a code block, and the first case is gonna be all inside of an array, and if it's all, we're gonna execute the code block inside of this, and then we're gonna break the switch. So type break. So now we're gonna access the database. So if somebody, or if the command user selected all, you can type dp.find one, and here's gonna be the guide ID. So guide ID equals to guide ID, then user ID is equals to target.id, and then we're gonna type async and then error and data. Then we're gonna create an error function. If an error happens, we're gonna throw the error, and then we're gonna check if there is data in the database. So if data, we're gonna execute this code. So let's type, for example, const w equals to data dot warn data dot length. That's like this. We can copy this line and paste it a couple of times. So I think this is enough. Let's remove the unnecessary spaces, or yeah, whatever. So this is for the warn data, and then W will stand for example, whatever. Let's say report that. Let's add another option, or choice. Alright, here we're gonna make it reports and reports. And by the way, guys, the episode for the reports system is gonna come out soon. Let's say we have an error here somewhere. We need to put a comma at the end of this line. Alright, so W warn data, R report data. Let's see, for this example, B for band data. So yeah, and like I said, the episodes for reports and kicks and warnings, the new warning system is gonna come out with a new series coming soon. After this episode, I think we're gonna be starting with it. Yeah, band data. Then here we're gonna type the kick data. So K for kick data, and then M for youth data. Doesn't matter how many datas you have, you can grab the length of them. So let's close all of these lines. Alright, in here we're gonna set a description to our response embed, so we can send it. So type response dot set description, and then here we're gonna, for example, type member target, and we'll put the target ID if you want. So target.id, and then we're gonna create a new line, and we're gonna include the infractions. So for example, you can customize this embed as much as you want, but I'm gonna make it simple for the sake of the speed of the tutorial. We can type warnings, and then here we can type W. We're gonna create a new line, and or actually, let's make the lines next to each other. So warnings reports, R, and then a new line. Then here we're gonna type bands B, a new line, then kicks K. Let's see over here, yeah, and a new line. And then for the what we have mutes, we're gonna type M. So this is gonna return the how many mutes, how many kicks, how many bands, and so on and so forth. And then we're gonna respond with that embed. So we're gonna type interaction dot reply. We're gonna pass that embed inside of the embeds array. So interaction reply response. and this should be it. If there's data, now we're gonna type else. So if there isn't data, we're gonna change the description. So let's copy this line over here, remove everything inside the description. Here we're gonna type target has no infractions. It's pretty simple. So let's try out this command for now. So let's start the bot, no errors. If you go to our Discord now and type / infractions, I will check for example my infractions. I gave myself a couple of infractions before. So for example, let's check all. Here we're gonna see that I have 2 warnings, 0 reports, bans, kicks, mutes. If I go to the database over here, we can check that I actually do have this data inside of the database. But if you check on somebody that doesn't have any of that infractions, for example, let's take Pash, for example. He's an administrator. I'm gonna check all, and it's gonna return Pash has no infractions, but because there's no data in the database saying that he has infractions. Alright, we're gonna switch now the case. So we're gonna go one more line under the break. We're gonna type case, and the second choice we created, I think, was warnings. So case warnings. We're gonna execute the code inside of this code block, and then we're gonna break. And then here it's the same concept. What we can do is copy this lines and paste it right over here, and then you can delete whatever is inside of this if statements. So for the warnings, it's the same process. So if data, here we're gonna check if data dot warn data dot length is less than 1. So if there is no data recorded on, or there is no warnings, but there is the warnings file, like you see here, warn file, then we're gonna send that that user has no warnings. So has no warnings. Just like this, we copied this line over here and we changed the description. But else, so we're gonna go down one under it. We're gonna set the description. We're gonna copy this again. We can remove the whatever we typed in here, and here we're gonna map the what's called the warnings. So target, here we're gonna pass the target.id, and we're gonna check, we're gonna type warnings, then we're gonna create a space or a new line, and here we're gonna map. So yeah, so we type, actually, let's see here, let's end this line. Alright, and here we're gonna add a plus, and we're gonna add the backticks, and here we're gonna map the warning data. So data dot warn data dot map. We're gonna map w, let's see here, w and I, and it's gonna be, the first thing that we're gonna provide is the ID. It's gonna be I plus 1. Then here we're gonna we can create a new line, but if you don't, whatever. Now for the dates, I'm gonna put a comma. So date equals to, here you need to be careful because we're gonna be styling the date. So let's remove this first. Type this arrow or whatever you wanna call it, t, and the 2 dots. Here we're gonna type w dot date, and then the 2 dots r and this arrow, and here we're gonna create a new line, and the staff is gonna be w dot what you can do, we can tag them actually. So we'll make this arrow, and then in between we're gonna type w dot executor id. I think we typed it. Alright, so now we can create a new line. We're gonna type reason, and it's gonna be let's see here, w dot reason, and it should be it. Then we're gonna go out over here and type, we can create a space, we need to create a space, and then let's go down here, we're gonna type dot join, we're gonna join with a space, and then we're gonna slice. So dot slice 0 to 4000, so we don't exceed the character limit of the Discord descriptions. So let's copy this here, and then interaction response, and paste it here. Now let's try the warnings. So if I go to the Discord, type infractions leaks, we check the warnings. We can see here let's see, the data has undefined. Let's see why it's undefined, because it should be w.date, not data, guys. So let's try it again. So slash infractions, leaks, warnings. Now we should see the days, so 5, and that's the reason I was trying out the command. So this is how the style of the data is gonna be. Alright, now that we're done with this, we're gonna go over to the bands. So it's the same process, and here actually let's finish this. Else we're gonna return that we'll copy this, we're gonna type has no warnings over here too, so we find 0 data. Alright, now for the bands, so we're gonna type case bands, we're gonna execute the code inside of this object, and then we're gonna break. So same process, just copy this db.find1 block, paste it over here. Let me minimize this, and we can change this from warn data to ban data, and here we're gonna change the warnings to bands, and let's actually not remove it, we can just type bands instead of warnings, and here the warn data should be changed to ban data. We're gonna be mapping it the same way we mapped our warnings. So we have the date, should be date, it shouldn't be data, sorry guys. This is the ID, the date, the staff, and the reason, and yeah, this should be it for the ban. And if you also added another, let's go to our, if you followed along our tutorial, we can see in the mute data or the ban data, we can see the messages. So that's the amount of messages that deleted. For example, if you go to the Discord and ban somebody, we can see here the history message deleted. So what we can do is create a new line and type messages deleted, and here we can type w.messages, and this should be it. We can change this to bands, and now if we restart the boat and try it out, so infractions, leaks, shake bands, here we have that the reason this is a band test, the message deleted 3 like it's in the database, and this is the date. Like I said, you can customize the embeds to be whatever you want. Alright, now for the kicks, for example, if you created your kick command, it's pretty simple. It's the same process as bands, guys. You just need to, if you go here, just need to remove these unnecessary options. I'll keep the reasons, and just instead of target.ban, target.kick, you know how it is if you followed along the series. So yeah, let's copy this line over here again, and after we break, we're gonna create a new case, and it's gonna be kicks. We're gonna execute this code block, and then we're gonna break. Right, so here we're gonna paste this, and instead of kick ban data, we're gonna type kick data. Here no kicks, and here from bands to kicks, same here with kicks, and the data map is gonna be kick data.map, the date, staff, reason, and now we can delete the messages because we didn't specify that inside of our kick command. So let's try the command now. So slash infractions leaks kicks, we can see that I kicked myself, or fake kicked myself 5 days ago when I was testing. This is the reason, and this is the staff. And now for the mute, it's also gonna be the same process. We're gonna change a couple of stuff. So we'll just copy this database again, create a new case, and we're gonna call that case mute. We're gonna execute this code, we can paste this, and like I said, instead of a mute data or kick data, it's gonna be mute data. Here in mute and mute and mute, and instead of the kick data map, we're gonna type mute data map. Here's the ID of the mute, the date when the mute happened, the staff, and the reason. And I think this is all the information that we put for our mute. Let's go ahead to our mute and see. Yeah, duration, we can also add the duration. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So infractions, we can make a new space, we're gonna type duration, and it's gonna be w.duration. Pretty simple. Now if we restart the bot and check it out, so slash let's see, infractions leaks, I'm gonna check the mute. Here we have, I muted myself. This is a test. Hello 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Pretty simple, you can customize as much as you want. And now for the reports data, I don't have the reports command set up. It's gonna be in the next series. So yeah, this should be it, guys, for the infraction check command. It's pretty simple. It's, yeah, it may be 150 or 60 lines, but you see we copied and paste most of it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for the next series. Have a nice day.